So let's dive into episode 8 of 9 in our series in the What's New 2025 podcast, Additive Manufacturing. Right. So if any of you are familiar with additive manufacturing, you've probably heard it referred to as a lot of different things. 3D printing, of course, being the most common, rapid prototyping. But really, it's an interesting descriptor using 3D printing because the space of 3D printing is so vast and varied. And there's so much different technology that's out there that may be useful to you and it may not be depending on what your applications are. So we like to think of 3D printing as kind of a magic box, which I have here on the screen, but really it's kind of what do you need for your business? These are just a few examples on the screen here of some of the ways that additive manufacturing or 3D printing is used, from the kind of introductory plastic dragons that people sometimes think of 3D printing about, but all the way up to large prototypes or end use components and tooling, fixtures, and everything in between. Um, so when we talk about what's new, I included this chart because I think it's kind of a good graph to show where 3D printing has been and where it's going. And so this is a chart that's showing increasing business impact, and then along the x-axis, it's showing the degree of technical risk and requirements for the application. So you see down in the lower left corner, we've got, modeling concepts, prototypes, and maybe fit up or form feedback components, right? That's where 3D printing has lived, and provided a lot of value for a long time. Now what we're seeing is a little bit of a transition to the up and to the right, a little bit to some of the higher value, more impactful applications, and that are also increasingly requiring of technical insight and use. So, but with that, you get higher business value, things like work holding, things like functional tools, and actually components that can be used on the manufacturing floor. And then in blue, on the far right, you see things like aerospace, component production and or mid-volume production. And I think some additive technology is getting close to that, but really the sweet spot of where our offering is right here in some of these yellow highlighted areas of tooling, fixturing, work holding, and things that are going to be put to use on the manufacturing floor. So to further illustrate this, we've got kind of a chart here showing where it's going, where additive is evolving from and where it's going to. And so again, we see prototyping at the left there, where things have traditionally been, and then we see where it is now and what's new. And those are things like using manufacturing applications, using 3D printing to tackle manufacturing problems on the factory floor, for custom machinery. These are just a few samples of where we're seeing it put to work in manufacturing facilities. And again, mass production, not quite there yet for a lot of technologies, but again, something that is certainly possible in the future. But where we're seeing it put to work now is those high value, low volume applications. Odious intro video with that exciting piece of equipment. I would notice that there was a Markforged machine in the background of the video. So I highlighted that here, and then I actually reached out to John Como here online and asked a little bit about how they're using Markforged in their operations, and he told us that the majority of the use cases are for prototyping new designs, as well as product adjustments, fixtures, and even some production components and end-use parts that are inside the system are created on their Markforged machine. So again, interesting to see how they're using it, and obviously going further than just prototyping and actually using it for fixtures and manufacturing components and even some end-use parts that are on the unit. So when we talk about what's new in manufacturing, what's new in additive manufacturing, we like to talk about what sets Markforged apart from some of these other 3D printing technologies. And a big part of that is the ability to inlay continuous fiber inside parts. What does that mean? Well, essentially that allows us to put an internal skeleton or an internal scaffolding that adds exponentially greater strength to the parts that we're printing. So a unique thing about Markforged is these two nozzles on the printer. This is on our composite offerings. And so the ability to print a part like you would traditionally on an FDM machine, but also reinforce the inside of the part with continuous fibers. Most often that's carbon fiber, which yields the strength of 6061 T6 aluminum to these printed parts. And that's how we're able to do a lot of those higher strength, more demanding technical applications on the manufacturing floor. So that enables a lot of exciting applications. Some of them you see here. This is a good cross-section of what our customers are doing. Most of them are manufacturing, they're making something. They might be machining or bending metal or using automation, cobots, robots. All these areas are potentials for Markforged to make an impact. So what I'd like to do is highlight some of the things that maybe people have traditionally thought of 3D printing and contrast that with what's new thanks to Markforged. So let's dive into some of these. Something I've heard in my time at GSC and in my career here in manufacturing is that 3D printing makes brittle parts. For some technology, that's true. For Markforged, it's a little bit different. Here's an example of a 3D printed press brake die printed on a Markforged machine, bending 14 gauge galvanized steel. The press brake is hitting it with 2.5 tons of force, and this customer was able to get over 5,000 parts made off of this 3D printed die. Again, a testament to the strength of the part. It is reinforced with carbon fiber, and it does have 2 pieces of drill rod inserted as well to cover the wear surface that you see. Another one we tend to hear a lot is that, well, 3D printed parts are inaccurate. The new way is that they're quite accurate. These are just a few examples of our customers who are using Markforged to 3D print CMM inspection fixtures in their quality department. This drastically helps them reduce setup time and also makes it easier for operators to quickly insert and take the measurements off of their manufactured parts. Another thing we've heard is that 3D printed parts are weak. Well, referring back to what we talked about earlier, customers that are doing some incredibly demanding applications that require high strength. Like we see here, this is a customer of ours bending 1-inch outer diameter cold rolled 1020 steel on a tube bending cell. You can see the wiper die, clamp die are all 3D printed with carbon fiber reinforced parts. Since this application, we've actually helped customers print the entire center die as well. This chart as well is an indicator of what's new in additive manufacturing because most of our customers are replacing steel or aluminum parts with Markforged 3D printed composite parts. So while most people think of 3D printing for prototypes and maybe low impact applications, most of our customers are having real manufacturing impact with their 3D printed carbon fiber reinforced parts. Another thing we've heard in the past is that 3D printers can be unreliable. Of the Markforged machines, we have some examples of print farms. Some of our customers have adopted so many Markforged machines that they tend them with cobots like we see on the left. This enables them to get lights out part production. Again, this is only possible if the machines are reliable and repeatable and able to consistently produce highly accurate, consistent parts. One conception about 3D printing is that it's messy. And while that's true of some technologies, Markforged is a FDM type system. Therefore, the material is contained as well as the print envelope. So you're not dealing with fumes or messy materials. They can be used in an office environment or even out on the shop floor. Another misconception we've heard in the past is that the parts are not safe. Here's an example of a 3D printed part that's reinforced with carbon fiber being pulled apart on an Instron. As you can see, it's surpassing 22,000 pounds of force. And it does eventually yield. 22,000 pounds is a considerable amount, and certainly more than what most people would consider a 3D printed part could handle. From a European customer, Wärtsilä, who manufactures large pistons like this for naval engines. You can see here, this is a 3D printed lifting tool that is reinforced with carbon fiber. Again, having something that is lightweight but high strength is much safer than having a large steel hook swinging around the facility. This also helped them to maintain that Class A surface finish that they have on this part. This was the first CE certified part, 3D printed lifting tool, and it actually held up to 2,000 pounds with zero deflection. In the past is that the parts can't be used in an industrial environment. It has a wide swath of customers in the manufacturing and industrial space. So we've seen firsthand how Markforged can deliver significant business value in these environments. Here are just a few examples, like an end-of-arm tool here in the center for an injection molder, or an ultrasonic welding fixture. Even these gears and other components used in complex assembly lines. These have all been 3D printed on Markforged equipment and allows our customers to do more with less in-house. Forged in action in an industrial space. This customer obviously runs a bottling line, and they are able to replace a machined aluminum plate with a 3D printed alternative. This allows them to reduce their line changeover time when they have a new bottle coming through, and also maximizes their machine uptime. In the past, they had to stop production and remove this entire upper assembly to slide the metal plate off. Using Markforged, they're able to 3D print various inserts that fit the different bottles they need. Here are just a few more examples of Markforged in action on the manufacturing floor. As you can see, automation is a great space for Markforged due to its ability to make highly complex, high-strength parts on demand, quickly, and in-house. Many of our customers who are either heavily involved in automation or adopting automation in their facilities rely on Markforged to create custom end-of-arm tools, fixtures, and all the various custom components that are required to make custom automation functional. Is that 3D printing and additive manufacturing is challenging to use. We can't hire somebody to run a 3D printer. Thankfully, that is not the case any longer. If you have CAD and a wall outlet, you are about 95% of the way there to successfully using Markforged additive manufacturing. Something else we've heard in the past is that it might be useful in a few more years. Again, Markforged has been well adopted across a broad range of industries and has proved impactful for many of our customers. Many of them have been using it for a long time and are continuing to include it in their growth plans going forward. One of my favorites is 3D printing is characterized by my nephew owning one in his basement. And by the way, we encourage all those nephews printing in the basement to continue printing and learning about this industry. There's so many different offerings that are available on the market today that do different things. Markforged, again, is set apart by its ability to do high-strength, high-impact manufacturing applications. That is due to its unique ability to print with continuous fiber reinforcement. These are just a few examples of some of the materials that are available to reinforce your printed parts with. Each one of these different reinforcement fibers offer different part characteristics that can be used depending on your application. Here's a chart illustrating just how much more strength is imparted in a part that is reinforced with continuous fiber. In the lower right of this graph, you'll see materials like nylon and ABS and Markforged onyx. This is the world of 3D printing and where it's traditionally been. These other line curves that you see are those same parts but reinforced with Kevlar, fiberglass, high-strength, high-temp fiberglass, and the most interesting one, carbon fiber. So what does being able to safely, quickly, cleanly, easily, and autonomously create strong, accurate, reliable, repeatable, and highly valuable components unlock? Well, our customers tell us that it creates endless possibilities. This slide illustrates just a few of the applications that our customers are using Markforged to tackle in their manufacturing operations. Do you see any that you might use in your facility? Again, having CAD and electricity gets you 95% of the way there to creating critical components in hours in-house. Adding that Markforged machine gets you all the way there and enables your company to manufacture the critical parts you need on demand. Additionally, Markforged offers metal additive, which is an exciting newer area in the world of additive manufacturing. Here's a list of some of the materials that Markforged machines can print in. As you can see, including tool steels and Inconel in our offerings opens up a lot of exciting possibilities in that tooling and fixturing realm that weren't thought possible in past years. Offers a few exciting advantages to our manufacturing customers. Our composite machines are quick to adopt, easy to use, and quickly deliver on an ROI. Metal is the same, easy to use, office friendly, and without some of the complications that come with other metal powder additive manufacturing systems. Obviously, both of these are supported by GSC's additive manufacturing team. These new trails in the world of software. Markforged has the only ISO 27001 certified cloud-based slicing software. Security and encryption is important to many of our customers, and Markforged is able to deliver on that due to this advanced software. While it's very capable, it's also extremely easy to use. Markforged has also added useful tools like inspection to perform cloud point data inspection of printed parts. It additionally offers simulation for our customers to evaluate the performance of their printed parts prior to printing. So what does this matter to you and to our customer base? Having Markforged in-house allows you to make your life easier. It increases your in-house capabilities and allows for new ideas to flourish and be put to use quickly. The world of manufacturing is always changing. Markforged enables agility and the ability to tackle new, novel problems with ease. To identify your need for additive. These are just a few of the areas that we've seen our customers address with Markforged. Reducing your need for outsourcing, increasing in-house efficiency, optimization and utilization of existing equipment and skilled labor. And as always, reducing lead time and cutting costs is a key driver for many of our customers. The GSE is here to help you. We're experienced in guiding our customers in the adoption of additive manufacturing, application identification, and helping our customers to develop their ROI prior to making a selection. And keep in mind, if you have CAD, you're already 95% of the way there. I'm also excited to announce some brand new developments with Markforged. First off, the FX10, Markforged's newest machine release, is now able to print in both composite and metal. This offers an exciting opportunity for customers who want to take advantage of composite printing immediately and grow in their additive journey into metal. They can do this on the same machine with the FX10. And as of today, Markforged is announcing a new material, NSF certified food safe nylon, which is CFR Title 21 compliant with the FDA. This offers an exciting opportunity for our clients in the food and beverage space who often have challenging and demanding part applications. All for attending episode 8 in the What's New series with GSC. Once again, I thank you for your time and your interest in this. Please reach out if you have any questions to any of the GSC team members. We'd be happy to host you here at our facility in Germantown and show you some of these machines in person. And we'd also be excited to visit your facility and potentially help point out some areas where additive can make a difference for you.